Have you ever caught someone staring directly into your eyes and felt like they could see straight through to your soul? That moment when you realize they're not just looking at you, they're reading something ancient, something you didn't even know you were broadcasting to the world? What if the reason that moment feels so unsettling is because your eyes aren't just windows to your soul? They're actually broadcasting your soul's deepest mission to anyone who knows how to decode the message. Carl Jung spent decades studying what he called the collective unconscious, the shared psychological patterns that connect all of humanity. But there's one discovery of his that mainstream psychology has buried so deep, most people will never hear about it. A discovery that connects the color of your eyes to archetypal patterns that have been guiding human behavior for thousands of years. Here's what they don't want you to know. Your eye color isn't random. It's not just genetics playing dice with your appearance. According to Jung's most controversial research, your eye color is actually a physical manifestation of your soul's primary archetypal pattern, the deep, unconscious force that's been driving every major decision in your life without you even realizing it. Think about it. Haven't you noticed how people with certain eye colors tend to gravitate towards similar life paths? How they seem to share certain inexplicable qualities that go far beyond coincidence? How you can sometimes look at someone and immediately sense something profound about their nature just from their eyes? The ancient wisdom keepers knew this. They could read a person's entire life purpose just by looking into their eyes. They understood that your eye color carries the blueprint of your soul's mission, the reason you chose to incarnate in this lifetime, the specific role you're meant to play in humanity's collective evolution. But here's where it gets disturbing. Most people are living in complete opposition to their soul's mission. They're fighting against their deepest archetypal nature, wondering why life feels so difficult, why they feel so disconnected from their purpose, why they can't seem to find their tribe. If you've ever felt like you're meant for something greater but can't figure out what, hit that subscribe button right now. The hidden truths we're about to reveal could change everything you think you know about yourself. You're not imagining this deep sense that there's something more to your existence. That feeling that you're here for a specific reason, that your life has a mission you can't quite grasp. It's not wishful thinking. It's your soul trying to communicate with your conscious mind through the only language it knows: archetypal patterns. Carl Jung discovered that every human being carries what he called archetypal imprints, deep psychological patterns that exist in our collective unconscious. These patterns aren't just abstract concepts. They're living forces that shape our personalities, our relationships, our career choices, even our spiritual beliefs. And according to Jung's most suppressed research, these archetypal patterns are directly connected to our physical characteristics, especially our eye color. Here's what mainstream psychology doesn't want you to understand. Your eye color is like a cosmic fingerprint. It's the universe's way of marking you with your specific archetypal mission. The melanin patterns in your iris aren't just determining how light reflects off your eyes, they're actually creating a physical manifestation of your soul's deepest programming. Think about every person who has ever looked into your eyes and seemed to immediately understand something profound about you. Think about how certain eye colors make you feel inexplicably drawn to some people and instinctively cautious around others. This isn't coincidence, it's archetypal recognition. The ancient Egyptians knew this. They believed that the eyes were the actual seat of the soul, and that different eye colors indicated different spiritual missions. The Celtic Druids could determine a person's entire life path just by studying their iris patterns. Indigenous shamans across the world have always understood that eye color reveals the spirit's chosen work in this lifetime. But here's where it gets unsettling. Modern society has systematically destroyed this knowledge. We've been conditioned to believe that our eye color is meaningless, just a random genetic lottery. We've been taught to ignore the archetypal wisdom that our ancestors took for granted. The result? Millions of people wandering through life completely disconnected from their soul's purpose. They're trying to force themselves into careers, relationships, and lifestyles that fundamentally oppose their archetypal nature. They're exhausted, depressed, and confused because they're literally fighting against their soul's mission every single day. If you've ever felt like you're swimming upstream in life, like you're constantly fighting against some invisible current, drop a like on this video. You're about to discover why. The truth is, your eye color has been trying to tell you something crucial about your purpose since the day you were born. But you've been trained to ignore the message. You've been taught to see your eyes as just another physical feature instead of recognizing them as the cosmic GPS they actually are. Let's start with the most misunderstood eye color in the archetypal system: brown eyes. If you have brown eyes, You've probably been told your entire life that brown is common or ordinary. This is one of the most damaging lies our culture perpetuates, because brown eyes carry the most profound archetypal mission of all. Brown-eyed individuals are what Jung called the keepers of the earth. Their soul's mission is to serve as the grounding force for humanity's collective consciousness. They're the ones who hold space for everyone else's spiritual growth, who provide stability in chaos, who create the foundation upon which all other archetypal missions can unfold. Here's what makes brown eyes so powerful. The deep melanin concentration in their iris creates a direct connection to what Jung called the primordial unconscious, the deepest, most ancient layer of human psychological experience. Brown-eyed people can access wisdom that has been accumulating in the collective unconscious for thousands of years. This is why brown-eyed individuals often feel like old souls. They carry the weight of ancestral wisdom in their psyche. They're naturally drawn to healing, teaching, nurturing, and protecting others. They have an inexplicable ability to make people feel safe and understood, even strangers. But here's the shadow side that brown-eyed people rarely recognize. Their soul's mission makes them natural caretakers, which means they often sacrifice their own needs for others. They become so focused on grounding everyone else that they lose touch with their own spiritual elevation. They give and give until they're depleted, wondering why they feel so drained despite being surrounded by people who love them. The archetypal mission of brown eyes is to learn the difference between healthy grounding and codependent caretaking. They're here to teach humanity how to be rooted in wisdom while still reaching toward transcendence. They're the bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. Ancient cultures revered brown eyes as signs of divine wisdom. In many spiritual traditions, brown eyes were considered marks of the earth angels, souls who volunteered to incarnate specifically to help humanity evolve. The Egyptian priests believed that brown-eyed individuals could channel the wisdom of the earth itself. If you have brown eyes, you've probably noticed that people naturally confide in you. Strangers tell you their deepest secrets. Friends always come to you for advice. Children and animals are immediately drawn to you. This isn't coincidence. It's your archetypal nature creating a field of safety and wisdom around you. But here's what you need to understand. Your mission isn't to fix everyone else. Your mission is to model what it looks like to be deeply rooted in ancient wisdom while still growing toward your highest potential. You're here to show others how to be both grounded and transcendent. If you have brown eyes and you're finally understanding why you've always felt like everyone's counselor, share your country in the comments. Let's see how many earth angels we have watching from around the world. The psychological research backs this up. Studies show that brown-eyed individuals score higher on measures of empathy, emotional intelligence, and what researchers call wisdom orientation. They're more likely to choose helping professions, more likely to maintain long-term relationships, and more likely to report feeling a sense of responsibility for others' well-being. Your brown eyes aren't common, they're sacred. They're the mark of a soul that chose one of the most challenging missions possible: to hold space for humanity's growth while maintaining your own spiritual evolution. Every time you look in the mirror, you're seeing the eyes of someone who volunteered for one of the most important jobs in the collective unconscious. Blue eyes represent perhaps the most misunderstood archetypal pattern in Jung's system. If you have blue eyes, you've likely been told you're intense, or piercing, or that people feel exposed when you look at them. This isn't about intimidation, it's about your soul's mission as what Jung called the seers of truth. The lack of melanin in blue eyes creates a unique neurological phenomenon. The iris reflects light in ways that actually enhance certain types of perception. Blue-eyed individuals have what researchers call enhanced pattern recognition. They can see through illusions, deceptions, and false facades more easily than other eye colors. This is why blue-eyed people often report feeling like they can read people's true intentions. They can sense when someone is lying, when someone is hiding their real feelings, when someone is wearing a mask. Their soul's mission is to serve as truth detectors for the collective consciousness. But here's the shadow side that blue-eyed individuals struggle with. Their ability to see through illusions can make them feel isolated and distrustful. They often know things about people that they wish they didn't know. They can see the gap between what people say and what they actually mean, which can make relationships feel superficial or disappointing. The archetypal mission of blue eyes is to learn how to use their truth-seeing abilities in service of healing rather than judgment. They're here to help others remove their masks and connect with their authentic selves. They're the ones who can hold space for people's complete truth, both light and shadow. Ancient Nordic cultures believed blue eyes were marks of the sky seers, individuals who could perceive spiritual truths that others couldn't access. Celtic traditions held that blue-eyed children were born with the ability to see through the veil between worlds. In many shamanic traditions, blue eyes were considered signs of natural visionary ability. If you have blue eyes, you've probably noticed that people either feel immediately comfortable with you or immediately uncomfortable. There's rarely a middle ground. This is because your archetypal energy forces people to confront their own authenticity. You create what Jung called a field of truth around you that makes it difficult for others to maintain their usual masks. The psychological research confirms this pattern. Blue-eyed individuals score higher on measures of analytical thinking, pattern recognition, and what researchers call deception detection. They're more likely to pursue careers in investigation, psychology, research, or any field that requires seeing through surface appearances to underlying truths. Your blue eyes aren't just beautiful, they're tools of consciousness. They're the mark of a soul that chose to serve as a living lie detector for humanity. Every time you look at someone, you're unconsciously scanning for authenticity, for truth, for the real person behind the persona. If you have blue eyes and you've always felt like you can see through people's facades, tell me in the comments about a time when your intuition about someone turned out to be absolutely right. Let's validate each other's truth-seeing abilities. But here's what you need to understand about your mission. Your job isn't to expose everyone's lies or call out their inauthenticity. Your job is to create safe spaces where people can drop their masks voluntarily. You're here to model what it looks like to live authentically, to show others that they don't need to hide their true selves from you. The world needs your truth-seeing abilities now more than ever. We're living in an age of unprecedented deception, manipulation, and surface-level connection. Your blue eyes are your soul's way of marking you as someone who can help others reconnect with their authentic selves. Green eyes are the rarest eye color, appearing in only 2% of the global population. But this rarity isn't coincidental, it's archetypal. Green-eyed individuals carry what Jung called the catalyst mission. They're here to accelerate transformation in everyone they encounter. The unique combination of melanin patterns that create green eyes also creates a unique psychological profile. Green-eyed individuals exist in what researchers call the liminal space, the threshold between different states of consciousness. They're natural bridge builders, capable of helping others transition from one phase of life to another. This is why green-eyed people often report feeling like they don't quite fit anywhere. They're too intense for some people, too mystical for others, too grounded for the spiritual community, too spiritual for the material world. This isn't a flaw, it's their archetypal design. They're meant to exist in the spaces between categories. The sole mission of green eyes is to serve as catalysts for other people's growth. They have an uncanny ability to appear in someone's life at exactly the moment that person is ready for a major transformation. They're the ones who ask the questions that shatter old belief systems, who introduce ideas that change everything, who create the conditions for breakthrough. But here's the shadow side that green-eyed individuals often struggle with. Their catalyst energy can make relationships unstable. People are drawn to them intensely, experience rapid growth or change, and then sometimes need to pull away to integrate what they've learned. Green-eyed people can feel like they're constantly being abandoned just when relationships get deep. Ancient Celtic traditions held that green eyes were marks of the shapeshifters, individuals who could help others transform their essential nature. Egyptian mystery schools believed green-eyed initiates had special access to the transformational energies of rebirth and renewal. In many indigenous traditions, green eyes were considered signs of natural shamanic ability. If you have green eyes, you've probably noticed that your presence seems to accelerate everything. People meet you and suddenly their lives start changing rapidly. Old relationships end, new opportunities appear, hidden truths surface. You're like a lightning rod for transformation energy. The psychological research supports this pattern. Green-eyed individuals score higher on measures of creativity, adaptability, and what researchers call change catalyst behavior. They're more likely to pursue careers in counseling, consulting, creative fields, or any profession that involves helping others transform their circumstances. If you have green eyes and you've noticed that people's lives seem to speed up when you're around, share your most intense transformation story in the comments. Let's see how many catalyst souls we have here. Your green eyes aren't just rare, they're revolutionary. They're the mark of a soul that chose to serve as a living catalyst for humanity's evolution. Every person you meet is potentially one conversation away from a life-changing breakthrough, and your archetypal energy is designed to trigger that transformation. But here's what you need to understand about your mission. Your job isn't to force change on others or to fix their problems. Your job is to embody the energy of transformation so completely that others remember their own capacity for change. You're here to model what it looks like to be constantly evolving, constantly growing, constantly becoming more of who you're meant to be. The world needs your catalyst energy now more than ever. We're living in a time when old systems are breaking down and new paradigms are emerging. Your green eyes are your soul's way of marking you as someone who can help others navigate these transitions with grace and wisdom. Hazel eyes represent one of the most complex archetypal patterns in Jung's system. If you have hazel eyes, you've probably been told they change color, depending on your mood, the lighting, or what you're wearing. This isn't just a physical phenomenon. It's a reflection of your soul's mission as what Jung called the shapeshifters of consciousness. The unique combination of melanin patterns that create hazel eyes also creates a unique psychological flexibility. Hazel-eyed individuals have what researchers call archetypal fluidity. They can access and embody multiple archetypal patterns depending on what the situation requires. They're natural adapters, capable of being exactly what others need in any given moment. This is why hazel-eyed people often feel like they have multiple personalities or like they're different people in different contexts. They can be the wise counselor with one person, the playful catalyst with another, the grounded protector with a third. This isn't inconsistency, it's their archetypal gift. The sole mission of hazel eyes is to serve as mirrors for other people's potential. They have an uncanny ability to reflect back to others the qualities they most need to develop. They're the ones who can see someone's hidden gifts and help them recognize their own capabilities. But here's the shadow side that hazel-eyed individuals often struggle with. Their archetypal fluidity can make them feel like they don't have a solid core identity. They can feel like they're constantly adapting to others' needs while losing touch with their own authentic self. They might wonder who they really are when they're not being what others need them to be. Ancient Greek traditions held that hazel eyes were marks of the divine mirrors, individuals who could reflect the gods' qualities back to mortals. Celtic Druids believed hazel-eyed individuals had special access to the wisdom of the world tree, which connected all realms of existence. In many mystical traditions, hazel eyes were considered signs of natural mediumship ability. If you have hazel eyes, you've probably noticed that people often tell you that you help them see themselves more clearly. They say things like, "You helped me realize," or "I never thought of myself as," or "You saw something in me that I didn't know was there." This is your archetypal nature creating what Jung called a field of potential recognition. The psychological research confirms this pattern. Hazel-eyed individuals score higher on measures of emotional intelligence, social adaptability, and what researchers call potential recognition ability. They're more likely to pursue careers in coaching, mentoring, therapy, or any field that involves helping others recognize their own capabilities. If you have hazel eyes and you've been told you helped someone see themselves differently, share that story in the comments. Let's celebrate our community of divine mirrors. Your hazel eyes aren't just changeable, they're transformative. They're the mark of a soul that chose to serve as a living mirror for humanity's potential. Every person you meet has the possibility of seeing themselves more clearly through your reflection, and your archetypal energy is designed to make that recognition possible. But here's what you need to understand about your mission. Your job isn't to lose yourself in others' reflections or to become whatever others need you to be. Your job is to maintain your own center while being flexible enough to help others recognize their potential. You're here to model what it looks like to be authentically adaptable, to be true to your core while being responsive to what each situation requires. The world needs your mirror energy now more than ever. We're living in a time when many people have lost touch with their own potential, when they've forgotten their own gifts and capabilities. Your hazel eyes are your soul's way of marking you as someone who can help others remember who they really are. Now that you understand your archetypal eye pattern, here's what most people get wrong. They think this knowledge is just interesting information about their personality. They treat it like a spiritual personality test instead of recognizing it as a blueprint for their life's deepest work. Your eye color isn't just describing who you are, it's revealing who you're meant to become. It's showing you the archetypal pattern that your soul is here to master in this lifetime. Every challenge you've faced, every relationship you've had, Every career choice you've made has been your soul's way of trying to guide you toward your archetypal mission. Think about every moment in your life when you felt most alive, most purposeful, most connected to something greater than yourself. Notice how those moments align with your archetypal pattern. The brown-eyed person who felt most fulfilled while counseling a friend through a crisis. The blue-eyed person who felt most energized when they helped someone recognize a truth they'd been avoiding. The green-eyed person who felt most alive when they helped someone make a breakthrough. The hazel-eyed person who felt most connected when they helped someone see their own potential. These weren't coincidences. These were your soul recognizing its own mission being fulfilled. But here's where the real transformation begins. Most people have been living in resistance to their archetypal mission. They've been trying to fit themselves into society's expectations instead of honoring their soul's calling. They've been wondering why life feels so difficult when they're literally fighting against their deepest nature. The brown-eyed person who's been told they're too sensitive and tries to become more detached. The blue-eyed person who's been told they're too intense and tries to become more superficial. The green-eyed person who's been told they're too much and tries to become more predictable. The hazel-eyed person who's been told they're too changeable and tries to become more rigid. This is why you felt disconnected from your purpose. This is why relationships have felt challenging. This is why career paths have felt unfulfilling. You've been trying to be someone you're not instead of becoming who you're meant to be. If you're finally understanding why certain aspects of your personality have always felt like fighting against the current, take a moment to hit that like button. You're about to discover how to flow with your archetypal nature instead of against it. Here's your integration practice. For the next week, pay attention to moments when you feel most energized and alive. Notice what you're doing, who you're with, what kind of impact you're having. These are the moments when your archetypal mission is being fulfilled. Then pay attention to moments when you feel drained, frustrated, or disconnected. Notice what you're doing, who you're with, what kind of impact you're trying to have. These are the moments when you're working against your archetypal nature. The goal isn't to completely restructure your life overnight. The goal is to begin making small adjustments that honor your soul's mission. Maybe it's choosing to have more authentic conversations if you're blue-eyed. Maybe it's allowing yourself to create more stability for others if you're brown-eyed. Maybe it's embracing your role as a catalyst if you're green-eyed. Maybe it's accepting your natural adaptability if you're hazel-eyed. Your archetypal mission isn't a limitation, it's a specialization. It's your soul's way of telling you where you have the most to offer, where you can make the deepest impact, where you can find the most fulfillment. The ancient wisdom keepers understood this. They knew that each person's unique archetypal pattern was essential for the collective's well-being. They knew that when each person fulfilled their soul's mission, the entire community thrived. Share this video with someone whose eyes you've always found captivating. Help them discover their own archetypal mission. And tell me in the comments, what's the first change you're going to make to honor your soul's calling? This isn't just about understanding yourself better. This is about stepping into your role in humanity's collective evolution. Your eye color has been trying to tell you something crucial about your purpose since the day you were born. Now that you know what it's been saying, you can finally stop fighting against your nature and start flowing with it. The world needs you to fulfill your archetypal mission. There are people waiting for what only you can offer. There are transformations that can only happen through your unique gifts. Your eyes have been broadcasting your soul's mission your entire life. Now it's time to answer the call.